Most of us have heard or seen Yosemite National Park, but very few people have witnessed the extremely remote northern region. It's too rugged for roads, and only a few trails traverse its landscapes of immense rock formations and crystal clear lakes. I recently experienced this awe-inspiring place as part of my last backpacking trip as a Californian. It was more impactful than I could ever have imagined. So join me on Section I of the Pacific Crest Trail for a journey of grit, triumph, self-reflection, and soul-searching as I say goodbye to my old life and prepare for a new one. All right, we are on our first day, walking in. Got very heavy packs. I think our packs are right around 40 pounds each. And I have a good feeling about this. I think we've trained enough and we've put enough thought into this trip that I think it will be very successful. First stop, Glen Allen. It's a high Sierra camp. It's an easy walk over there, and then we turn and we go up the Tuolumne Meadow kind of area, and that's gonna be a long day of walking, but so far it's been very manageable. After several shakedown hikes and weight training for months to ensure we were in shape, we were finally there. Our packs had bear cans and 7 days of food, so our training was about to be put to the test. Look at that view. This water tastes so good. I came down here to take a picture of these mountains, and that tree seemed really interesting to me, but the problem is I'm finding it blends in too much to the trees behind it, so I'm thinking it may need some amount of contrast enhancement to be able to really see it, but we'll see how this ends up panning out with a little bit of editing. So I was walking across this bridge here, and I noticed that there's this really cool kind of like stair step down of these rapids. And so I think if I hold the lens up really high, I can actually get shot going down the kind of stair step. And then in the background, there can be this big granite face. And the granite face kind of pops with color because of the trees, and also they create a bit of contrast from the white. So let's see how that turns out. Got up to a nice precipice to look out, and we can see that's Mount Conness, and we actually were there a long time ago, right at the base of that, and then back behind it is North Peak, which is all the way over in Hoover Wilderness, I believe, and that's kind of the boundary of Yosemite. And then this mountain right here, I believe the lake that we are trying to get to today is at the base of that on kind of this side. So I think we're gonna drop down. I think Glen Allen is right down there, and then I think we're gonna just kind of putter our way right up here, and then turn and kind of go up that valley. They call it Cold Canyon. And according to the ranger that we ran into, Cold Canyon doesn't have a lot of water, so we gotta make sure we fill up there at
Glen Allen. But we're making good progress. We'll get there when we get there. We made it to Glen Allen. Look at that waterfall. Isn't that wild? Actually, I was getting a photo of it, and these rocks in the foreground I wanted to take advantage of to create a leading line up to the falls. See how it turned out. Now we begin climbing up and out of Glen Allen area. Apparently Cold Canyon does not have a lot of water sources, so we're cameled up and ready to go. So it begins. Well, we're walking up Cold Canyon, and I don't know if I believe it should be called that. It's quite exposed. I'm glad we talked to that ranger, and he told us to put on, or to get lots of water at Glen Allen, because it's toasty up here. Well, we've descended down into this meadow, and the views are awesome. We're just surrounded by these granite domes. Not very many people can say they've seen places like this, and I feel very fortunate that I can do it. Not easy, but at times it is definitely worth it. Now we just got to keep powering through it and get to camp. Taking a break in a meadow. Alex is going and wetting his shirt. I think if this entire trip teaches me anything, it's that the human body is an extremely robust and able to take punishment. It's a machine that just keeps on going if it has to. And duty calls. All right, well, we finally made it to the junction between McCabe Lakes and Virginia Canyon, which is, I think, where we're going to be going instead of McCabe Lakes, because I don't think either of us have like another 2 miles of uphill in us. So we're just going to go downhill for about a mile and get to camp. We got a couple hours left of light, set up camp, and then tomorrow is going to be much shorter. Looking forward to that. Well, I think we found where we're going to be camping. I would say morale is pretty low. I think we need to get some food in us, get some water, get set up before the sun goes down in about maybe a little less than an hour. So we got our work cut out for us. Let's get to it. Well, we got in kind of late, so I did not get any sunset pictures, and even blue hours looking suspect, because I think it's time for me to get a little bit of something to eat. So maybe some astro photos. I know that
The Milky Way is supposed to pop up somewhere down that valley, but whether or not I can find a spot that is not obstructed by trees remains to be seen. So, for me, I think for tonight I'm signing off. If I take any astrophotos, they will appear here. So it begins. The temperatures dipped lower than we expected that night, but we did still sleep like absolute rocks. I'm up a little bit before dawn. I'm trying to be very quiet because we have several neighbors. The sun's supposed to rise there behind me, and I'm hoping that if I stake myself out here on this maybe like kind of rock surface, I can be ready to kind of take off in any direction wherever the light seems to start hitting. There's already the belt of Venus in the morning is starting to dissipate in that direction. So I think the dawn is going to be hitting here in about 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm just going to look around and see if there's anything of interest to check out. Okay, the sun is starting to finally rise. Getting some light on this mountain over here, and there's actually some light kind of touching this mountain over here. So I think that there are too many trees in the way of this one. I'll take a couple pictures, but I don't know how they'll turn out. There's less trees in front of this one, but there's no good clouds, which for us that's a good thing, because as a hiker, clouds in the morning can often be a bad sign. But as a photographer, kind of means there's less dynamicism in the sky. So I also found right over there's a really nice there's a really nice waterfall or rapids that are lined up perfectly with, if the sun starts to come up over there, we're going to have some nice light just shooting down here, and I think it'll make for a really interesting contrast of the light on the upper areas and the trees, and then down low maybe no light or darkness. So we'll see how things go. I should probably start getting packed up. We're going to try to make a run at a pretty decent little amount of climbing today. Either that or we will rest. It's unclear what we're going to be up for, but day 2. So I'm Frodo and you're Sam, huh? Because this was all my idea and you just tagged along because you wanted to make sure I survived. But yeah, we're saddling up for day 2. Day 2 is nice because it's kind of a choose your own adventure. We can go as far as we want, but any amount that we cut it short makes day 3 that much longer to get to Benson Lake. So we have to gauge that. So we may go pretty long today, but not nearly as long as yesterday. And the amount of elevation gain today should be more doable if it's not over such a long distance. We'll see how it goes. We just came from way down in that valley, and we actually yesterday came over off this ridge and did a bunch of switchbacks down to the very bottom where the river was. But yeah, so we've been coming up, no problem, uphill, and then now we're gonna go up and through this little slot and follow the creek up. It's just gonna be a slow
trudge up it, and then once we get to the top, I think it's gonna be pretty flat as we walk along, and then I think we're gonna drop down, and then that's where we'll decide what we're gonna do. Thanks. Very pretty horses. We made it to the pass, I guess, sort of. It's not Benson Pass, but now the day is much easier unless we decide to go all the way up to the next high spot. But I mean, look at these big rock domes. You don't get that anywhere else. Yosemite is definitely something special. I'm glad that I got to do this before heading out.
Couldn't ask for a better place to have lunch. Still got a little ways to go, but where else can you see stuff like this? Pretty awesome. Maybe snap a few photos and get on our way. The first day had really worn us down. We both had real worries that we weren't up to this challenge, that we would have to give up only a day or two into our planned 7-day hike. The whole time we were thinking that every step we took would be another step that would need to be backtracked if we didn't think we could make it all the way through to the end of the hike. Morale was extremely low, but our efforts would be rewarded almost immediately after we left that lake.
Look at that. Wow. This is definitely the view of the trip so far. You've got Matterhorn right out there, and then Sawtooth, what'd you say it was called? Sawtooth Range? Ridge, right along there. And then we've got all these little domes. I guess little's the wrong word. All these giant domes. Really something.
The views of Whirl Mountain made us feel really small, but in a good way. We could feel the massive undertaking we'd begun and the size of the distance we'd already covered. In the back of our minds, we knew that these views were just the beginning of what we could expect on this trail if we managed to see it through.
All right. Virginia Canyon is where we were last, what'd that be, last night? Supposedly Glen Allen is 13.8. Okay, so that kind of checks out, I feel. And then Tuwali Meadows, 20.5. We've been at it for quite a while, and we've finally made it down to Matterhorn Creek. And now we just continue on.
After being reinvigorated with stunning views, we felt like we had the strength to push a bit further than we originally planned. We assumed the mileage and food weight of the first day would mean we'd be exhausted the second day, but we still felt good when we hit our planned camp, and instead we just kept going.
We made it to camp number 2. We're feeling better than yesterday. We wanted to cut off as much time as we could for the Benson Pass trip tomorrow. So we hiked up part of the way past Matterhorn Creek, and finding a spot up here was tough because you kind of had, like, similar to the exposure triangle with cameras, right? You have to make sure that they're all balanced, and you either found one that was too steep, too close to the river, or too close to the trail. And finally we found one that seems to be the sweet spot for all of them. So this spot is really nice, and we're gonna get all set up before the sun goes behind the rocks, and then we will chill. I'm excited. Okay, so because we went much further up in this canyon to try to cut some time off for tomorrow, since we'll have a really long day if we didn't, we've kind of boxed ourselves in, and there's not been a lot of good opportunities for sunsets, or I'm guessing sunrises are also going to be kind of not great. So an astro is basically out of the question because there's a huge rock face right behind us to the south, so that will just basically block it all. So instead, what I'm going to do is we're waking up extremely early, and we are going to set out, and hopefully we can maybe get to the pass that we're heading to at a reasonable hour, and there might be some really nice lighting. So we'll see how it goes, but no astro or night or morning photography for this evening. Well, we're getting camp all broken down so we can get on the road quickly, but the sun is just starting to kiss the tops of that mountain. So maybe I'll step over and take a couple pictures with the telephoto. Alright, heading up Wilson Creek after breaking camp. It's actually a really nice gradual climb. We're rejuvenated from having had a nice camp, and now we need to climb up, and then we'll cut up toward Benson Pass, and that part's going to be more tough. Now we go up and through that little pass, Benson Pass. Easy, no problem. And that'll be the high point for the day, and the rest of the time will pretty much be spent going downhill. What do you think?
Isn't that the high point for the trip?
Now that we're not going over on the 7th day, whatever that one's called, then I think it will be the high point for the trip. Making our way the last little pull up to Benson Pass. The air is very thin up here. We're at about 10,100 feet. And I have a feeling the views are going to be incredible from the top. It's just right over there. Benson Pass. We made it. I think this might be the high point. The air is quite thin up here at 10,100 feet. Alex has the right idea. I think now's the time to take a little break. I think we might be going way out over there somewhere.
It's that one.
Is the one on the far right or the, which one?
With the right, the big face.
Yeah, the big face over
Not
there.
the tall one right next to us.
Yeah. Huh, so
That's where our lake is at.
we just got to get over there today. Mostly downhill. What do you think?
Good.
The pass had nice views, but we still had a lot of miles to make that day, so it was time to get back on the trail. Feeling like we'd already really accomplished something, we descended from the pass and made our way toward the goal of the day, Benson Lake.
What a place. Not every day you see stuff like that. Oh, we made it to the first lake of today. Alex has found an excellent spot. We came out on this little island. There's this really cool tree here. Look at that. Might have to get some pictures of that. But yeah, we were up somewhere back up in there. And now we've made our way over. And once we're done with lunch, I think we climb around, or so there's some amount of climbing, and then we drop down to Benson over there. So couldn't have asked for a prettier place. This is incredible. Time at this lake is drawing to a close, and so we're gonna head out, and I think the next plan is to go up through that little low spot, drop down, and there's a couple of little hills we got to get over, and we'll keep dropping down until we get to the base of that mountain. It's just barely peeking up over there, and that is exactly where we're headed for the day. We've got 4-ish mile, 4.5 miles left, mostly downhill. There's a little bit uphill, but we're going to be ready for it now after this very revitalizing stop. So, not many places like this. Pretty incredible. Made some good progress over these last 3 days. Virginia Canyon, that was first night, right? Smedberg Lake.
6, baby.
How many?
3.6.
Nice, 3.6 more miles.
Yosemite Valley, 35.
Huh.
You want to see it?
Yeah, let's just take a detour. Like, look at this place. This place is insane. Like, look at that rock structure. Look at that. Yeah. What do you think?
Speechless.
Once in a lifetime. Obvious it is, but we just came from that, and there were so many switchbacks. Like, you could just see through some of these little gaps. It was just basically cliffs, and it was just switch back all the way down. I think we lost like 1,000 feet in maybe a mile, might have been less. So now we just need to follow the creek, and we're gonna walk out and down this drainage to Benson Lake. Nice to not be going downhill so steeply. Just making our way down to Benson Lake. We're just surrounded by these giant bowls of huge mountains, all made out of granite.
By this point, I had some royal blisters from all of this downhill. I was looking forward to resting my feet at the lake.
There's the lake that we've been after all day. Now we just got to get down, finish getting down to it, and then home free. Unfortunately, this last little bit seems very steep, but we've got some excellent views. Very excited about tonight. I'm sure there will be some good opportunities for photography. Well, we finally made it. After descending, I don't even know how many thousand feet. To Benson Lake. Time to get off my feet. All right, we made it. And I think this is one of those times that we drink something. Cheers. Oh, cherry flavored.
Is it any good?
Tastes like cough syrup.
I gave this to you?
Megan did. High five.
The wind that afternoon was unrelenting, and we finally managed to get our tents set up after flailing around for a while. I can only imagine that's why all this sand is at this side of the lake. This was our first opportunity to really clean off, and the sand felt nice under our sore feet. We decided that evening that we weren't going to cut the trip short and that we'd push all the way to Kennedy Meadows to complete the entire hike. We'd made it this far, we knew we could see it through to the end. All right, so today was a pretty long day. It wasn't terribly long distance-wise, but I think we went down about 3,000 feet of elevation, which, it wears on you after a while. And so we've made it all the way down to Benson Lake, which is great. This place is beautiful. The sun set extremely quickly here because it's such a low basin. And so we are kind of packing it in, and then we're going to go out and try and take some photos at around midnight, a little after midnight, maybe some astro stuff. And we're feeling okay. Tomorrow is going to be a really long, lots of up, lots of down. I think ibuprofen is going to be our friend, and we're just going to keep hammering it out. Tomorrow is kind of a lot of up and down, and then the next day is kind of a lot of long. So we're just gonna play it by ear. We're feeling pretty good about everything, and I hope that you're enjoying the pictures. Oh, wow. Look at that. I'm sure that'll be really picturesque once we get a little further away from these. This is incredible.
I'm hoping that if it's this strong, it'll burn itself out quickly, because if not, we're in for a long night.